Hello, how are you? Okay, so I spent a lot of the day, we got our tree up, and stockings are hung by the chimney with care. And what was I going to say? I spent a lot of the day beyond that. I went to the prayer group with Rosemary. That was very nice for those of you that attended. And hi, Farm Life. Hi, Margot. Hi, Liza. And then between that, around that, what I was doing was listening to Charlie Adelson's phone calls, which I will get uploaded here from files that are FOIA requested. But I've been listening to them, and I've been typing what I've been listening to, and I have some things I want to go over. Okay, so let me put up a little. Is this what I want? Charlie Adelson is blaming Wendi for what's up with this? Because you know his attorney always says, "Oh, Charlie talks a lot and Charlie repeats things over and over." Charlie repeats over and over about Wendi and why she drove to the crime scene. So if you didn't follow this case, I will tell you that one of the things that was a theme is about a TV. Now, it's all about that. First, allegedly, Charlie makes a joke that he was going to hire a hitman to kill his sister's ex-husband, but it was cheaper to buy her a TV. And then that TV becomes an alibi because somebody broke that TV. And apparently the mother had to call for service on it, which doesn't even make sense if Charlie bought it, because then it was under the father and the mother's name, and they had to call for service on it. And when her old boyfriend Jeffrey Lacoste said that the damage on it looks like someone literally just punched it, standing right in front of it and punched it like an adult. It did not look like anything a child would have done by throwing something at it, which is what Wendi said happened to it. And the date of the service is just so happens to be the date that Dan Markel is murdered. So that would give Wendi her alibi, right? Because Wendi had to be home for the TV repair. And when this other thing happened that was called the bump, which was really an FBI sting operation where they were trying to get Charlie and his mother and Catherine Magbanua to talk about Dan Markel's murder again, they had this undercover FBI run into Donna outside of her building and pretend that he was a friend of, I don't know which one it was, Luis Rivera or Sigfrido Garcia, but whichever one it was, they wanted to say that, hang on a minute please, okay. They wanted to say that it was, they were saying, hey, you're helping Katie out, you're not helping my buddy out, he needs money and he needs about five, meaning, 5,000, and it was this thing, it was called the bump. But when the mother called Charlie and they have the wiretaps, she says this TV will cost about $5 when she's referring to this. So they're saying, why are they doing the TV is a common theme, and and then you have Wendi has the TV repair. But Wendi does something really odd. The day that Dan Markel is murdered, Wendi is going to the liquor store. But she doesn't go to the liquor store that's around her. She goes to a liquor store 17 miles away that just happens to go right past the crime scene. And so this is going to be what Charlie's talking about when he says, that the jury couldn't get past this. Because if Wendi went to this crime scene, then she knew about it. She knew that her parents her mother and brother were involved in this. and she was the reason he was convicted. So if Charlie believes that, and Wendi really knows about this, just listening to him in calls 48 hours from the conviction, yeah, I think Charlie's going to be talking a heck of a lot, and I think it's going to be some really incriminating stuff that's going to show that Wendi knew 100% what was happening. So let me go over some of the stuff that he said, and I'm going to start with some calls that are from November 8th. That was about 48 hours post-conviction. Okay, so let's see. So Charlie says to his mother, I'm sorry, there's nothing going on in my head but to rehash things. It gives me something to focus on. Everything is a struggle. I don't even know what to say. I've never been like this. I've always had something to focus on. And he said with all the guns they brought to the table, they couldn't get even one juror, couldn't get them to deliberate. Okay, so what he's talking about with the jurors, he's saying he couldn't get one juror, with Daniel Rashbaum, could not get one juror to even go to his side. Not one, not even any deliberation. They didn't even deliberate. Okay, so he's saying this is crazy. He said that Dan, that was his attorney, was telling them what wiretap to listen to, but their minds, they were made up. Georgia, and that's the prosecutor, Georgia Kappelman, had a photocopy of a transcript with the words highlighted. I almost feel like Dan, again his defense attorney, should have made it for third grade level. He was saying Dan had it at sixth grade level, but he should have made it at third grade level for these jurors to understand, because he's basically referring to the jurors as a bunch of simpletons. He said it didn't penetrate. Donna said it didn't penetrate. And then Charlie said it got dumbed down to her showing up at the crime scene. Her showing up is the icing on the cake, meaning Wendi showing up to the crime scene. He's saying the whole case hinged on that. And that is why they opened with it, and that is why they closed with it. And that is why they gave the explanation that she just couldn't help herself. Between that and the TV, they had two things excuse me, you really don't have explanations for. The day of the murder or the bump, the TV joke, and then showing up to the scene of the crime. I mean, a couple of years ago, he said, people said, did that really happen? You were thinking about it. Nobody really knows. She shows up to the crime scene. What is that, like a 1 in a million thing? And I was like, yep. Once someone has that in their head, he goes, I guarantee you if they polled the jurors, they knew if they knew it was a coincidence or a lie. So he's saying, they're saying that, oh, come on. She just shows up at the crime scene right after the murder happens, and we're supposed to believe this is a coincidence. The chances of that being a coincidence, he goes, is 1 in 10,000. He goes, maybe it's 1 in a million. That you show up at the crime scene, and they always use it in detective movies, but she didn't know anything. And then Donna says, oh, it's like people that start a fire and show up to watch it burn. That's been on TV forever. And then he starts talking about the mafia in New York. And he says, do you know Paul Castellano? And the mother's like, I don't know. And he's like, he was shot at a steakhouse. And that's when John Gotti became the head of the Gambino crime family. And he said it was a real violent death, out by the steakhouse. I don't know if they got him going in or coming out, but they shot him. And then it would be like somebody who had a beef with Paul Castellano, who lived maybe 15 miles away, would pull up at the crime scene 30 minutes later, or be there when it happened, sitting in the restaurant or something when it happens. And you go, why in the heck is that guy here? But come on. That's a good story. That sets the tone for everything else. It puts a bad taste in your mouth. And Donna says it does. And then he says, it's a 17-minute drive to that liquor store, right? And Donna says, I think so. And he goes, and then there's stores 5 minutes from her house. So why would you go 17 minutes? I mean, I get it. And then she said something about this CVS. She had to go to the CVS. That's why she went there. And then he said, Dan, again, his defense lawyer, said, spend some money on an appellate lawyer, but don't look to spend a fortune, because you've got to find yourself some hope. Maybe someone will write something. Maybe some new evidence will come out. You could get a new trial. As well as our case was put together, we couldn't get one effing person in the jury to, see our way. And then he starts telling his mother the story about this guy that was a few cells down. He said it was a black guy. He was going to court. His last name was Brown. He had a public defender. He was really, really nervous about the jury deliberating. And he says, 1 p.m. on Friday, I was on top of the world. Everyone said I did great when I was testifying. Everyone said I knocked it out of the park. And the mother's like, oh, yes, everyone said that. All of our friends, our family. And then he starts telling the story about this other guy, and he says that he was acquitted for first-degree murder. So he says, this guy is in Florida, and he was in his house, and some guy came in, and he went to reach for a gun in his, jacket. And so the guy that he's talking to shot this guy like 9 times, stand your ground law. But then he said that some, what did he call him, a boy in the hood or guy in the hood, came and must have stolen the guy's gun, because when the police came, the guy had no gun. But his defense was that someone from the hood took the guy's gun. And there was no crowd, he said. He said the guy was armed and he shot him in self-defense. And he goes, and the jury acquitted him. He had a public defender. And 12 people. He said everyone always says they want black ones on the jury. And he was so jealous of me. Let's see. He says he was a black sergeant, works for the post office. And he said one thing is to call a restaurant. Another is to go to a liquor store out of your way. Where was she going there? Was she going to pick up a bike at the house? She was going down Trescott. That's the road that Dan Markel lived on. Unexplainable. He said, I'm not a jury consultant. I'm not a lawyer. But we had a world-renowned guy who is the best. He's the best. He's the top. You couldn't get one vote. We couldn't break it down and say, what are the chances? Even if she wanted to go to that liquor store, there was more than one direct route. She's a brilliant person, but she can't find her way out of a paper bag with direction. She lives in a town for 8 years, and she takes the long route to go to the liquor store. There are some real simple people, and even if they're not real simple, what the F are you doing driving down Trescott at 12:30? That's why I feel like, look, I don't want you to give up. And then Donna says, we are not. And he goes, going down a rabbit hole. But the trial had gone poorly. If it was not going poorly, everyone told you, people I know, did the witnesses screw up something? Did Dan? No. It was them taking that thing out of context and Wendi showing up at the crime scene. So he's got this completely. This is Wendi showing up at the crime scene. So his sister screwed his mother over because she was not arrested at that point. Wendi, who's out there scot-free, okay? Wendi, who's not calling her brother. Wendi, who didn't go to court for her brother. Wendi, okay, is the one that screwed this up. And he just keeps pounding that into his mother's head. He just goes over that, and he said, I think someone showing up at the crime scene, you show up at the scene of a crime, I mean, that is the one thing, that and that TV Those are the things that have been pounded into people's heads. And you combine that with all the other stuff, and exactly, you don't stand an effing chance. You don't stand a chance. How could everybody... I don't get it. The trial went really well. It did not go bad. That's what he said. I mean, I could have told him. They said they called people and they had this mock jury on the phone with the lawyer, and that they said that, he wouldn't be found guilty. I told you guys the night before, he should have told us, because Charlie, you were guilty like crazy. There was not a doubt in my mind that they were going to find you guilty. Not one doubt. Okay. He said, I was nervous. I never testified in court. I was worried I could forget something. I could stumble. But I really thought it helped my credibility. They liked me. My personality shined through. And Donna says, they did. They liked you. They thought you were very personable. And he said that Georgia tried to get him to laugh. And he said it was kind of like she had Tourette's, and I didn't want to say that because someone on the jury may think, that's not appropriate. But she was screaming out curse words. It made me laugh for a second, like she had Tourette's. She really she just blurted them out. I know she had nothing else to ask. Donna said she ran out of questions. She had nothing else. If someone presented this case to me and they told me the reasons of why she was traveling on the route that day, I would say that taints everything, every other thing. And after that, people who show up at the crime scene are convicted just for showing up. And then Donna says again, they say showing up to watch a fire. Yep. Not 1 in 90, not 1 in 100, but in thousands. And that I can't... What did he say? So he said, I can't, I don't know what to do about that. That she, it's, can you believe it's a coincidence? I can't debate it. I can't debate. Okay, it's crazy that this would be a coincidence, but which it is. But for anybody to believe that, what are the chances? It's so crazy. Well, it's so crazy because it's not a coincidence. Okay, she couldn't help herself is just what Georgia Kappelman said. So, he goes, and then they asked her when was the last time she went to that liquor store when she was married. Yep, a long time ago. Put it this way, they don't buy her explanation. And Donna said, that's what happens. And he said, now they have her at the crime scene. If she admits she did not have prior knowledge, you would have to assume she did. That is why, before I came out to Tallahassee, my gut tells me, I literally, Donna says, kind of what it seems like. I will never forget. We went for a walk and standing in the middle of the street. That was exactly what they said. And when I came up here, June and July, I was trying to get started. He said they had a bond hearing, July 29th. Okay, and then he's starting to give the timeline, and he's saying that he wanted to get the case done November. So I'm thinking, when can we do this? We got December. And he said, and then Dan is saying, well, wait, let's put it off. We really want to get everything in order. And he said he had a whole countdown on his wall, and every day he put a check mark on it. He did a little yoga and workout classes, and he was reading everything on the trial. And he said it's, with his ADD, it's hard for him to concentrate. And guess what? He didn't have a chair with a back. He had to sit on the bed. And, come on. That's hard for him to focus when it comes down to it. His initial gut feeling, he did the best he could. It wasn't just him. He had people with so much experience and knowledge. He had that mock jury, Mom. 25 people on the phone. The feedback was tremendous. They really got me pumped up. I was giving away my stuff. He was giving away his stuff. He was giving away his extra clothes. He was giving away his commissary. He was giving away all this stuff. He did not think he would be back in that cell. Okay? He was so freaking pumped up. And he said, but then what are people looking at? Some Miami biatch who shows up at the crime scene? These two you cannot dispute. She wanted to leave. and she got to leave. That was what the case was about. While you're trying to get fixed and your brother's making a TV joke and your mom is talking about TVs, while you're talking about what cost a couple of grand, it would not be a blender. It was not her presentation, it was her dumbing it down for that jury, saying over and over that Wendi could not help herself but to show up at the crime scene. And she shows up at the crime scene. And if you told that to 100 people, they would say, what are the effing chances? 100% it happened. It wasn't random that she is involved and they are involved. That you have people making comments. It was like sitting in the courtroom watching Dateline, and you know how they talk with that voice? He means the narrator, that he actually said that, and you know how they talk with that voice? He says that when he was sitting there, he saw himself, when Georgia Kappelman was speaking, in a Dateline special, and he could hear the person that talks with that voice. Charlie, it's called the narrator. The narrator, was it Keith Morrissey, speaking, and he said that they have that all ready to go. They were just waiting for the verdict, and she was putting on a show, the prosecutor, is what he said. He said, and then he said, it's literally 48 hours ago, but it feels like it's 48 days, and it's laying on my chest. It's laying on my chest, because this was not a trial. This was like watching Dateline. Donna says it's a shock because you're living it, and a shock to us because we cannot believe it. He says it's 48 hours, but it feels like 48 days. It's like weighing him down. It's literally on his chest. You got to understand. And he goes, I'm told, don't give up hope. You get an appeal. Jury misconduct. You have to make a life for yourself. I lost it. And she goes, I thought you were coming home with your life. We were all waiting for you to come home. And he said, and I saw the trial go bad, but I was giving away my stuff over here. I was not like in jail when I've been here. I've been in the zone. I even took a list of numbers on an old sheet of paper. And I said, I'm going to keep the list because I'm probably not going back to my jail cell. And Dan said, we thought you were coming home. And you go out there for a while, and I'm coming back. And Donna says, I don't believe it. And Charlie says, everything is great. Stay strong, pull it together, tough it out. I just know one thing. I've been told many times where I'm headed now. It's really, really bad. And Donna says, you told me. And he says, this place is like paradise compared to where I'm going. I think about Donna, who's saying that she can't stay, that Leon County Jail is horrendous, right? He's saying, this is paradise. And I'm going to go where it's really, really, really bad. And he said, I just hope they have, they don't have me in the general population. And he said, one guard said it's changed a lot after COVID. Donna says, I've done some research, but I can't find anything yet. If they have, because he said he wants something where you can have personal contact, like hug the person and stuff. So she was saying she was trying to find that. And Donna says, oh, please, we will get through this. We have no choice. He cycles back to Wendi again showing up at the crime scene. It's the only thing he's focused on. Wendi showing up to the crime scene. When he keeps thinking about Wendi being out, Wendi being free, Wendi, and now his mother's in jail, and she's probably going to be convicted. And Wendy's going to be out? Wow, right? So, let's see, he goes, that alone can convict you. They made her out to be a liar. They connected her book, meaning Wendy's book, okay? And that's what an author does, is foreshadowing. When they talked about her route and the location, it does not hold water about going to the liquor store. But she doesn't drink. And she had a party. But that day, the day he got shot on that street, and they say she could not help herself. Whose explanation sounds more logical? The ex-wife who could not help herself, who claimed that there is She talked about the trust that she can't even touch. She's not even an executor of it, but it was painting a picture, and that is why it has been on Dateline. And there are so many coincidences, but that's what they are, effing coincidences. But when you start up with 1 in 10,000 chance, you're fighting an uphill battle. The only piece of the puzzle that does not fit is Wendi showing up that day. There we go again. And then, listen to this one. He says that Georgia Cappleman closed showing autopsy photos, which he said should not be allowed. Why, Charlie? It's about Dan Markel's murder. Why shouldn't autopsy photos be allowed? You're not making any sense. He says it's not about that. It is totally about that, Charlie. So he goes, and she puts up autopsy photos. And, very serious train of thought. And it was a coincidence, I knew almost all this stuff months and months ago before I got picked up. And I just sat there and I let myself get talked to by other people. And it was like, I knew what I wanted to do. My gut told me. I knew what I had to do. I knew what I had, but all these other people and what they thought, did they really think that, or were they hoping and benefiting? Could they have brought my dog up here, says this is what it sounds like, and had him convicted also? And he says, I thought in my heart of hearts, his heart of hearts, I knew the truth. They said 1 in a million, and it should have clicked that, dummy, everyone is saying the same thing. And you were sitting in Tallahassee. But Wendi was going to Trescott because she was going to the liquor store. What is the chance of that? Asking her what they wanted to get. You can literally pick up 5,000 different things, but she's picking up a bottle of bulletproof liquor. Bulletproof liquor on the day of Dan Markel's death after passing the crime scene, right? Yeah. Just crazy. And he said, that right there is enough to get you convicted. Right there, showing up at the scene of a crime. And let's see. And then he starts talking about Ryan. Ryan stopped there, called that girl, took photos of him. He was showing up at the house right there in the thick of it. He helped them get a PI from the law firm to look into things. And then he put the last nail in the coffin. By the way, the picture looks like the same date and time. And talks about public. He's just going on and on of these things he was doing with Catherine Magbanua. And then he said, it's one of those things, I am not asking now, but in a couple of weeks, it sounded like he said he was going to need money. And she's saying, it's funny because, I think Dad had a conversation with Alex. He's working with Alex on that. They've been working together to get things straightened out. And he said, I spoke to Ramsey, and sure, there are tons of matters going on with his office and his life. Oh, he says that Dan eat, slept, and drank this case. I'm not going to ask him right now, maybe 2 to 3 weeks from now. And Donna says, you're saying 2 to 3 weeks from now? Yeah, Donna, you'll already be arrested by then, sweets. And then he said, he even told me he thought he was getting me out. He told me, don't tell me, when he thought he was getting out, don't tell me to do it the next day. I need to catch my breath. The only thing I bother him with is a quick question, Donna says. He's beside himself, not as much as I am. I ask, what do you think is going to happen with it? And then it sounds like they're talking about, what's his name? Luis Rivera. Now, that's funny, right? That's the guy that went there with the trigger man to kill Dan Markel. And because of his plea deal, they're saying he's probably going to get out in 9.5 years. Okay? So it sounded like that's exactly what I said in court, that guy is the one that made the deal, and now he's got 9.5 years. Now, see, that's the perfect thing. He's talking about Rivera. What if they tell Charlie, you rat out your sister, we'll give you his deal. We'll give you 20 years. and you'll do 17 and you'll get out. What do you think Charlie's going to do? I don't know. I don't know that they'd make him that deal, but I'm just saying. Just saying. Then, okay. Then he says, give yourself a break before you go to my house. She says, I'm not running over there. I'm not putting the house up for sale yet. And then he says something like, those bedrooms upstairs, they can't look like storage lockers. I told her to get another storage locker for $300 to rent. And then he was talking about that in the backyard. He had everything out there. He put his stamp on it. Everything out there he did. He feels like he's trapped in a movie. He feels like he's like on TV. He said, I've been here for over a year and a half. I've never had such a swing of emotions. It is that he has regret about so many things, sadness on so many different levels. The last time he was home, and he starts talking about Dad coming over in the morning. Dad drove the Mercedes. I literally called out this number. I had 2 missed calls, and he's talking about when he gets arrested, and he says, and then he opened the window, and then it's the person, he said, there are all these people out there, and it was Officer Sanford, and he said, we're here with an FBI SWAT. He says, I really thought it was out of a movie. It was out of a movie when he was arrested. I never really thought, I mean, I see these shows on TV, but you never really think, what are the chances that it happens like this? This is crazy. But it's like, you get to go crazy once, crazy twice, but then she could not help herself. Back to the crime scene. He goes, she's showing up there. It's for a reason. She takes a shortcut, a long cut, 17 miles away. As much as I am today, I would come to the conclusion, Donna's not saying too much, and then that phone call drops out. Now, then there's another call, because they keep calling each other, and this was before that, I think, and she said, she talked to Mike Ferrara, and at the house, I told him to call Janice, let's see, when no rush, what did I put down? Call her, make arrangements. Oh, it sounds like the Ferrari that he has, that they're going to keep it at the warehouse for you. And then she said, I don't see my son use it. He said, I don't see my son using it anytime soon. And he said, I'll keep it in the warehouse for you. Yeah, I mean, like, he's going to do that for you. And Donna says, good, okay, I think that's good. Okay, at least I know what's happening, Donna said. And then Donna says, Dad took all of that out of the house. Everything you were worried about. And he said, I want to give the stuff to... Now, see, I think the son's name is Roman. Somebody told me it's Rowan. But I've been listening to these calls, and this son's name sounds like Roman. So I'm going to go with Roman right now. He says, I want to give stuff to Roman, and we know. And then the mother's going, okay, I went over that. And Wendi knows exactly what should go to who. Wendi knows. I'm telling you. Dad just went over that with her. And so she knows if it's for Roman. And then he says, I want to put something about him to go to college. And then she said, listen, I know about the trust. We went over everything with her. I mean, Wendi is supposed to get some things. He will have everything he needs, whether it's camp, clothes, he will have everything he needs. She said, I promise you this. He will never be calling he needs this or that. Don't worry about Roman. If anything happens to you, then Michael Mintz will take care, and then Wendi. He means if anything happens to the parents, it'll go to Michael Mintz to take care of it, and then to Wendi. And he said, she is taking this seriously. Believe me, she will do everything right for them. Dad and I are still here. We've still got a way to go. We aren't going to be here when Roman is older. Wendi will take care of it. Trust me. He will be fine. And then Donna's crying, saying, you're in shock. We're all in shock. This is so unexpected. Little by little, we have time, but no real control. And just think you're going to get out of here, not today or tomorrow, but that needle keeps moving a little bit. This is like, I know, Charlie. And then she's like, you're fuzzy, Charlie. I can't hear you. And then he says, you not understand, to win an appeal, to get a new trial, to get a new venue, all the prep time, to get 12 people to agree with you. I'm not going to be as fresh and recent as it is now to go ahead and like you say, because, and she says, don't sell yourself short. Things can happen. And I just feel like people's careers, when you're a prosecutor, you want to rule like they did not bring in proper evidence, but when you're ruling with a defendant, the guy I was friendly with, he's talking about another guy, they overcharged him. He's saying, okay, this is another case he's talking about there. It should have been assault and battery. They charged him with attempted murder. So he's talking about appeal. It's yada, yada, yada. Then they're talking about a check, about Ryan. He was writing the checks and the embezzlement and all that crap there. And then on 11/9, Donna said she has never seen where people have come into court and just lied. Really? What do you do, Donna? You lie in court, you lie on the street, you lie in depositions, you lie everywhere, allegedly, right? Charlie was crying, says, I thought I was coming home. Hold on a minute. I messed up 2 calls. Hold on a minute. How many people came in and just lied to us about being on the jury? And then he started to talk to his mother about jurors. And I started to get bored with that phone call. I skipped around and I went into a call where he was speaking on 11/9 with Bree, his baby mama. Now, this was really grand because she got caught in something, a couple of things. So Charlie was crying. I thought I was coming home. I could picture everything. And they start talking about Georgia and her closing. And he said, when she did her closing, she just changed the facts. She changed reality. She changed what I said. She changed what others said. She showed autopsy photos. She was doing a Dateline special. I was like, WTF? Okay. And then Bree is saying, you owned her before the closing. And he said, she went to work 15 hours a day on that closing. And Bree said, I heard she sucked at closing. And I don't think she came through. Her focal points were all about irrelevant things. Your sister's book, Tallahassee. It was your sister's life, your sister's books, your mom's email. Yeah, Bree, they're all relevant in this case. Hate to tell you that. Yeah, they sat there and were like, this man should not go home. So he starts talking about little things like, yeah, my house is right next to the turnpike. I'm going to say, yeah, tell me when you're passing by. And he's just talking about like the text messages and things and that Georgia was going over. And then Bree says, yeah, minor details. They turned and twisted. Oh, your mom's saying delete this text. Charlie says, oh, my mom's saying delete this text. I don't even know what she even meant. And or her text coming through. Now listen to this now about the birthday present. Remember Donna said, how's it coming with that birthday present that you're working on for your father? Now remember, this timeline fits around Dan Markel's murder. So then Charlie says, yeah, I'm working on it, blah, 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 blah. When he was asked in court, what did you get? What was you working on? Then he says something like, oh yeah, it was the catering or something. Yeah, come on, get out of here. But Bree really screws up here because she says, Charlie says they think it's Dateline or 2020. They actually had the Dateline all ready. They were just waiting for the conclusion, of guilty or innocent. And he said, it means nothing what I said to Katie Magbanua. that I was glad she was in my life. What does that mean? And Bree says, how many times did you have to say the same thing? I would have been so frustrated. I would have lost my cool. And then she says, Charlie says, she stated the facts wrong, and that is what the jury took. You shouldn't be allowed to change people's testimony in a closing. You shouldn't be allowed to put up autopsy photos in a closing. My mom's emails, it is not about the evidence. It's a show. And then he says, I'm not going to get into details, but how could I be so effing right about what they were going to put up here? And my buddy can't figure out why I did not pack it in and run. People are like, Bree says, people are like, wow, you're not married, you don't have kids, you have money. He said, I could have so easily picked up. I was innocent. If I had anything to do with this, I would be running to the airport. Yeah, like your mom was a few days later. They are twisting it. What we are saying, like we did such a good job covering our tracks. Let's see. He said, this is a fine example. I knew what the media was doing for years, but I believed I would get a fair trial. But we had people come in. There were like, he said there was a podcast, like 6 hours of shite. Did you see who I had as my jury consultant? And then she says, I mean, you made Roman's day. He was like, Daddy called, Daddy called. And then he starts crying. I realize my house is going to be sold. I don't know. My dad is going to be 80 this summer. He has heart problems. They have to clean out clothes. What are we going to do with my clothes? Put them in a storage locker? And Bree says, anything I can do? He says, it's only been 2.5 days. It feels like 2.5 months. I am realizing everything is gone. Everything I had enjoyment from. I will never see my son play soccer. Neither will Dan Markel. Because you killed him. You had him killed. That's what you're convicted of. Okay? You're so worried about, he's so worried now about this son that he didn't even recognize, from what I can see, that he needed a paternity test for, that he didn't even have anything to do with, I think, for a large part of his life, okay? Because he was too busy saying it wasn't his kid or something. But now, okay, now, and there's hardly anything on that, but what I can see is the paternity test and someone saying that, I think someone told me that he didn't have much to do with his son, but I'm not sure about that, allegedly. I don't know. Got to check that out. But either way, he's so worried about his son. Why wasn't he worried about Dan Markel's sons? Why did they have to grow up without a father? Because they wanted it, but his kid still has a father. His father's in prison. His father's a convicted murderer who murdered his cousin's father. So, yeah. Okay, but now he's crying about it. And he says, I had such an amazing life. He said, I will never see my son play soccer. I'll never give him a hug. I'm going to maximum security. This is people with life sentences. It is the most dangerous place you can be around. I mean, it is the definition of hell. You're going to come out in a box. I had such an amazing life. The problem with that, too, is that I had the best of everything. I literally know how good life can be. I know how hard I worked. I had a great career, and I had a life most are very jealous of. They did not have a life that even came close to it. And then she says there was a girl that was messaging her after the verdict, and she was very nice. She said she was shocked at the verdict, but I didn't answer her. She goes, and then she was from a Maine account, a mom with 2 daughters. She said, feel free, and I responded with, oh, thanks for the nice comments. And she sent me a link to a jewelry line and told me to pick up 3 things. Then she says Roman comes first. And then she's talking about Ryan leaving comments on her social media. And here's where her first thing comes in. She goes, Ryan needs and deserves to go to hell, go through hell, and end up in hell. I want you to do what you can to make that happen. And then he says something, and she says, oh my gosh, I see how words can, oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying legally. Oh my gosh. And then later on she says, oh, and like what I said before, I mean, I made it sound like you have people on the outside that can make that happen, to Ryan. Yeah, probably do. Okay. And she's like, I mean, legal hell. Then she said she would like Charlie's cargo pants. She would like his cargo pants. I don't know why. And then she said something about white. She has so many white shirts. And then she said, is there anything you would like to go to Roman? And he starts talking about some pictures, but he doesn't want to give her the pictures. It's so weird. I don't know whether he doesn't trust her or he thinks she's going to sell them to the media or something. I don't know, because he's talking about certain pictures, and then he says he doesn't want him to have pictures of him because it will make him sad or something. But then he says, she keeps saying, I could fly down and help your parents, and I won't take Roman there. And he's like, no, 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 no. I'm going to have my dad go through the house, and I'm going to have my dad do it. And she said, I don't like talking about this because I feel like it's a forever thing. And he said, he was talking about the pictures, and he's like, I'm going to have them save all the pictures. But he didn't want her to have the pictures. That was weird. And let's see. Then they went talked about Georgia Kappelman again, and he said, if I knew Georgia would shift the focus from the focus from the facts, and how did I come across as arrogant? And he said that's her opinion, and she used it as a fact. And when she told the jurors, use your common sense, you don't use your common sense if you were not there. And then again he goes to Wendi shows up at the crime scene. Now, let me get the part that she says about the father's birthday gift, because she put something really interesting out there. Okay, so when she's talking about that, Georgia Kappelman just wouldn't start harping on the text that are you coming through on the birthday present from the mother. And she said, oh, you're not good with gifts. No wonder your mom would say that. It does not even make sense. The theory that this all transpired and said this about the birthday present. But then she goes, but your dad was not even part of it. Part of what? Part of the murder plan? Yeah. She says, but your dad was not even part of it. Okay? And then Charlie jumps in to save that one, and he says, they think we all were part of it. And she's like, yeah. She messed up on that. And on the other thing, what did I just tell you? The other thing that she messed up on so far was something about, was it about Ryan? Let me see. What was the other thing I just said 2 minutes ago? But she definitely said your father was not even part of it. And then she would have been frustrated. Father having heart problems. What did I just say? Oh, yes, the thing she said about Ryan. That you've got to make sure, Ryan's taken care of. So, yeah, let me get back to... Okay. So, and she slipped and said Wendi was a part of it. Hey, Trekking 360, how are you? Right. Well, with that, right, everybody would have been a part of it, but Harvey, according to her, right? And but I just think that with him being so fixated on he's convicted because Wendi went by that crime scene, and then talking about Rivera getting out in about 9.5 years, right? I think they should go talk to him, and they might have to make a little deal for Wendi, right? I think so. They might have to make a deal for her. I think with the way he's feeling, and let's just say if Wendi is the one and is out, and I think the mother was trying to make it, because remember, Donna was not incarcerated at this time. She thought she was planning on, going to Vietnam. She said they were not going to be around. Well, she didn't mean dead. At that point, she meant they were going to be in Vietnam, but that Wendi knew everything she had to do because they were making their plans, right? So Donna's arrested now. And so now Charlie knows, oh my gosh, now my mother's arrested. Now my mother's probably going to be convicted. If they convicted me, they're going to convict my mother. And she's going to go, and my poor mother can't go to jail. And Wendi is just out there scot-free. And she's able to be with her kids, and I can't be with my son. And now mom's going to be in prison too. So why is he going to hold that loyalty to Wendi? Look, they've already written off one of their brothers, Robert, right? They had no problem. He said, my mother doesn't like Robert. So why in the world would he not turn on Wendi? Because she's going to be taking care of his kid? No, he has Bree to take care of his kid, right? He has Bree to take care of his kid. Georgia Kappelman was trying to get his feelings out about Wendi when he was on the stand. But he is fixated. Now, all Georgia Kappelman has to be listening to is these phone calls. He is fixated on the reason he is convicted is because she drove by the crime scene. That's only 48 hours after conviction. Remember, he hasn't even been in prison yet. Let me see. I lived an hour north of Tallahassee when this happened, and everyone is convinced Wendi ordered this, which is why she moved. Do you want to call in, Trekking? But yeah, I believe 100% Wendi is involved in this. And I'm not saying that, of course, I don't think she pulled the trigger or anything, but I believe she is the catalyst. And the mother wanted her out of there. I won't understand why the mother wanted her to leave him before she had. I would think that she had somebody lined up, but I guess the mother just wanted her away from Dan. He wasn't that Washington attorney. He left that firm. He became a lowly law professor, something she looked down on, and I guess she'd rather have Wendi alone, and she didn't want, sorry about that popping sound, it was not a balloon, it was this foam thing that I have. But anyway, it's just crazy. But now with the mother, okay, going through this. And when Charlie gets wind, Charlie isn't even in prison yet. So when Charlie gets in a prison, which he's definitely scared of, okay, and losing every sense of enjoyment he's ever had, losing his house, losing this, while his sister is out there prospering, right? Because what's ever left there is going to go to Wendi because they've written Robert off. She was mad because, yeah. But still, to have her without a husband, see, because it seemed like so important that she had the husband, but I guess she thought she was going to get somebody so much better. Anyway, now, how mad is that going to make him? Because Bree and his son, they don't live in Florida, right? And do you know about his involvement with his son? Didn't he have paternity testing to see if it was even his son? I thought they said he was not very involved with his son. Is this involvement only recent? And he clearly doesn't want Bree having pictures. He doesn't want Bree in his house. The only genuine behavior Charlie showed during the trial was when they read the guilty verdict and he beat his head on the desk. He didn't believe it was his kid, right? That's what I thought. I remember the paternity test. And so now, he's crying. He's never going to see his son playing soccer. Yeah. He wrote checks of child support. That's it. So he never really had a real relationship with this child, right? That's what I thought. It's very difficult to get any information on that whole part of it. But still, with his mother suffering, as you will, in that jail, and now he's not going to have his mother to talk to because I don't believe they're going to be allowed to speak. And do you see how they spoke, right? They spoke incredibly before, after, but now he can't. He's only crying because he'll never drive a Ferrari again. Yeah, but I think they were talking, and which I thought about it, Luis Rivera, took that plea deal, which when Luis Rivera came in, I thought, wow, Luis Rivera, the guy that was with the shooter, is going to be out, because I was 100% sure. They say they had this mock jury and they didn't think, they thought he did so well. I don't know what jury they had, mock jury, because I said it. He was going to be convicted. There was not a doubt in my mind he was going to be convicted. There's not a doubt in my mind that Donna's going to be convicted. So I don't know where their mock jury was, but where was I going with this? I'm like, Charlie, I've got ADD. I just don't see, like, Rivera came in and I'm thinking, okay, Rivera's got the last laugh here because Rivera's going to be out, and you guys, every one of you, you're going away for life because, you wanted to maintain your fake innocence. So I think that's what he was speaking about with his mother, and that the guy could be out in like 9 years. Okay, so, Charlie is what? He is, I think, how old is Charlie? He's 40. How old is Charlie? Well, let's even give him 50. 50, and he's been in a year and a half. If he got a deal like Rivera, right, and he was out in 17 years, So he could come out at 66 and still have a life, right? He could have 20, he could have 30 years. Hi, where's the nerve? So, what do you think he's going to do? You know? Work with us. Show us that Wendi was involved. He is only now realizing, that he has a child and crying for not seeing his son when in fact he is only crying for himself. Oh yeah. Joining your chat for the first time. I have followed. It is so fascinating, different from the 20 plus years. After 3 trials, we have more info on this case than any other. Yeah, hi, I'll be the judge. Good to have you here. If any of you want to come up on panel and discuss this, I would love it. If you want to come up on panel, you don't have to appear on camera. You can do it through a phone number or something. I don't think Charlie Adelson will ever cut a deal, but I bet Wendi will throw her mom under the bus. But what do we need her mother under the bus? Because we've already got her mother. Her mother's already convicted. Why wouldn't Charlie cut the deal? What would be Charlie's... Okay, riddle me this. They've already cut ties with Robert, the brother, right? They cut him right out of their lives. No looking back, no regrets, no nothing. Tell me why he won't do something that will benefit him if he gives Wendi up. She's not doing a damn thing for him. Wendi will say it was all her mom. But see, Donna's already convicted. There's enough on Donna to convict Donna. You know, there's... Donna's getting convicted. She doesn't even need Wendi to turn her in, to do anything. But what I'm saying is, why would Charlie have any loyalty to Wendi? She's not even calling him. And once he gets in that prison, and he said he has regret, remember? Isn't he going to start saying, well, what in the hell? If it wasn't for Wendi and that she had to get down to Miami and she had to get rid of this problem she had, Dan Markel, and if she hadn't been here, my mother wouldn't be in prison, I wouldn't be in prison, my whole life wouldn't be ruined. It's all Wendi. He's going to fixate on that. He's fixating on it now. Every conversation he brings back to Wendi driving past that crime scene. Right now he's saying she's an intelligent person who can't find her way out of a paper bag. In a few more weeks, he's going to say she is the a-hole that ruined my life. And if they go to him and say, if you give Wendi up and you show her involvement in this and you testify, we'll cut you a deal. Well, you're going to get 20 years. And that's going to sound a whole lot better than life in prison without the chance of parole. Don't you think so? I think so. He is so fixated on Wendi driving by that crime scene. The family's here for the Markels. The family's hate for the Markels is overcrowding their common sense. Yeah, they were ridiculous that they couldn't get on with that. Still blows my mind how he didn't use the defense of, I told him to rough him up, not kill him, but they did, and they extorted me. then he maybe would have gotten 15 to 20 years. I don't know. But I'm asking you, if they went to him and said, if you testify and if you give us Wendi, we'll cut you a deal of 20 years. Hi, Flower Girl Phillips. What do you think would ever make him say no to that? Why would he ever say no to that? He's got somebody to watch out for his son. His mother's going to be in prison. He's not going to have that person to talk to that he had in his mother because he's not going to be able to talk to her. He'll throw Wendi under the bus, and I hope that he will. Can they do that? Yeah, they can do that. They're doing something with Magbanua. She doesn't know what they're doing. They were going to cut her a deal before. She didn't want the deal, but then she testified now, and she's hoping that they're going to do something. She said, she's hoping. She doesn't know, but he'd take the deal in a second. He's got no chance now. Nothing. He's got nothing. He's got what? An appeal? An appeal that's going to go nowhere. He knows it. The only thing he has is if he could cut a deal. I believe Wendi's testimony is the keystone that has led to all the previous convictions. I agree with Charlie in that her driving by the crime scene is the one thing too significant to overcome. Right, but it also incriminates her, right? Why is she driving by if she didn't have prior knowledge? Carolyn, I believe this is exactly George's strategy. Yeah, I think so. That's if she's listening to these phone calls, and she is, he is ruminating day in and day out on Wendi driving by that crime scene. And that's before Donna was arrested. Those were before Donna was arrested. Can you imagine how frantic he is now? He cannot talk to Donna. Yes, and then Donna gets control of everything, Kevin. And she'll be living her best life. And what do you think he's going to be thinking? He said, the only way out of here is in a box. Yeah, her interrogation was something, right? So, and I'm going to start putting that stuff up here, but not all comments are posting. Oh, you know what? I'm not in live chat. Let me go to live chat. I was in top chat. Make sure you're in live chat. If you want to call in, just let me know. You can email. But don't get me wrong, there is a plethora of evidence against them, but her crime scene drive-by and bulletproof purchase, right? Seals the deal. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just let him get. He's gonna freak. You see how much he spoke to the mother prior to this, and Yeah, Wendi started this ball rolling. Right. Wendi knew. Do you think... I can take a poll. Do you think Wendi knew Dan was going to be murdered that day? Or do you think it was just a random drive-by to that liquor store that just happened to go by the crime scene? She knew. She knew what was happening, in my opinion. I feel like they put her on a pedestal. Maybe as a lawyer, she convinced them it would be fine. Yeah. You know, okay, you sent the email? Good. All right, let me get the, hang on. I have to, don't get nervous. Because I have to, leave this meeting. I don't know why I'm like up in the corner like that. I have to fix that. Hang on, I have to put on a new meeting. I have to end the other one, and I have to get the invite, copy invitation to send to you. Okay. All right, let me get your invitation. Okay. There you go. I'm gonna go little because I don't know why I'm like in the corner of the screen. I have to fix something's wacko. Maybe when I clean something I messed up my camera, but let's see. So it'll be a wild ride, but if I think if Georgia, as soon as I want to call her Gloria, I don't know why, plays her cards right, she knew, yeah, 100%. She knew. Okay, and there's people that act like, oh, she's innocent. She didn't know. I don't know how they explain the crime scene drive-by. Hi, Shanna.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I had to change my name to Trekking 360 because of the Shanna Gardner case. I
Oh,
don't
is
want to
that
be a
why?
Shanna.
Oh, my goodness. Are you following that
Um,
one too?
oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I just have something to say really quick. I only have about 5 minutes, but I'm convinced Wendi is involved. I was kind of on the fence for a while, and then I went back and watched Catherine McBanowa's trial,
Right.
and Jeffrey Lacasse was on there, and I still think he's the best witness, like
Right.
hands down. Um, but even in her trial, like he went into more detail about how he felt completely set up by Wendi, that they actually tried to kill him that one time before in June. They went down there
Yeah.
on a Friday. He said he had another trip planned. Wendi knew about it. He was leaving at 11 a.m. And the way that he would drive from his house to go to the airport would have been right by his house, right by Dan's house at that time. So she knew that he had that trip planned. And that's why they were so mad that it didn't go down that day. And then
Right.
when it did go down, he had a trip planned. And I guess him and Wendi, like their last date, like was a few days prior, and they went to like yoga together. And then they went out to the parking lot and had a conversation, he said, and they like broke up like in the parking lot after yoga.
Right.
And then she like runs back out to his car and like calling for him to come back. So he like turns around, and she's like, "So are you still going on that trip on Friday? And what time are you leaving?" And he's like, she had like all these weird questions. Like, why are you asking me questions? Like, we just broke up. Like, you have this weird interest in this trip I'm taking. So he told her, "Yeah, I'm still going." And he said that he just felt weirded out by it. And, he ended up leaving early thank God. And that's how he got cleared. Was he was seen at a Walmart like in Tennessee, and was on video camera like using his credit card. So the cops were able to clear him pretty quickly,
Right.
which they weren't planning. The Adelsons weren't planning on that because they were trying to frame him.
Right.
And
Right.
Wendi is absolutely involved. Absolutely involved.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I
In
believe
my
it too.
opinion.
In my
Don't
opinion
come
too.
suing me.
Yeah, no, in my opinion too. I mean, because like why just her driving by the crime scene is just ridiculous if she wasn't involved, right? To go that way
Absolutely.
that day. Yeah, right,
Because I was on the fence because like I'd watched the trial and I was working, so I'd catch like bits and pieces of the highlights. And then I actually like it was even like a few days ago went like I said and watched Catherine McBanoa's trial because I was like I want to see what Jeffrey Lacoste said at her trial, and he
right.
went in a lot more detail.
Yeah, I was
And I'm
actually
like,
reading the transcript the other night from him on in that trial, and I think, yeah, that he does say a lot more there.
yeah. So I definitely feel like what Georgia's doing is she is strategically picking off the people that she believes will roll on the next person. So I think she thinks that Charlie is going to roll on Donna enough to convict her where there's no reason, there's no doubt at all. Kind of what Catherine McBanoa did.
Right,
Even if they don't cut a deal with him, just kind of hoping that she gets the deal because they didn't cut a deal with her either.
right.
She was just hoping that if she testified, they would give her some leniency. And but I do think in a heartbeat he's going to throw Wendi under the bus. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think he will. I mean, what he does, they don't have. I mean, loyalty to anybody really. Look, they wrote the mother completely wrote off her son.
I know,
They wrote
right?
off their brother. He said on the stand, "My mother doesn't like my brother."
And he's been in jail. Charlie's been in jail. He hasn't been in prison. Okay.
Right.
That's
Yeah, I know.
completely
That well,
different.
he said that. He said, it's going to be hell. This place will be like paradise compared to that. And look how bad the mother's saying it is. So, yeah, when
Yeah.
he gets to prison, yeah, it's going to be
Yeah.
a different
Jeffrey,
story.
if Wendi does go to trial, which I think she eventually will, like they'll gather enough evidence because the Adelsons are so dumb, that they'll continue to with these phone calls. I think Donna is going to call her husband, and there's going to be a plethora of information there. But I think that they will end up taking her to trial, and Jeffrey Lacoste will bury her with all of the paperwork and all the notes he's been taking. He said he's got like over 100 pages of documentation that he went back and looked at, like credit card receipts and restaurants and dates of like, and he remembered conversations and like he's a professor. He researches. I mean, that's what he does. I mean, he's going to bury her.
Yes, definitely. And I'll be the judge says that's why Jeff came in the second interview with all that information
Uh huh.
because he realized that she set him up, tried to set him up after that. He made notes for days. Yes. Yep. I'll be the judge. And
It's just
Foxy
creepy.
Bot, great to see you. Thank you for the super chat. We've been missing you. I hope you're doing well.
Okay, Carolyn, I have to go, but I just
Okay.
wanted to
Thank
add that
you.
little.
Oh, thank you, Shanna.
All right, take care.
Okay. Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye. So, yeah, I'll be the judge. If you want to call in, just get better, Carolyn. Nighty night. Foxy Bot, it's really good to see you. We've all missed you around here. Are you doing well? I hope you're doing well. Don't be a stranger. It's really good to see you. Merry Christmas. All right, let me go to. So yeah, I mean, I think she's playing it. Yep, you got it, Foxy. Yes, it's not been easy. I've heard you. We know you've been going through it too. So we've been praying for you. Hope you're better now. But yeah, Charlie Adelson, and that's another thing. Like I want to go through Jeffrey Lacoste's testimony from Katie Magbanua's trial, and I started to do that the other day. So maybe We can't do that. I just have Donna here with this mouth. Let me see. Let me go and get Jeffrey Lacasse. Let's see. Let's see here. I think I have it right over here, don't I? Let me see. Okay, I believe it's here. Hang on, let me just grab this. Wendi. Okay. Hitman implicates Wendi. Okay. Denies bail. Is this on? Let me go here. I had this the other night. Okay. All right, I've got it here. Hang on. So we can even go through Wendi's testimony from here. Let's see, what is Wendi testifying here? Oh, Charlie talked about June Umchinda doing interviews. Page 27. Wendi. Okay, so they said to her, they started to ask about Charlie Adelson's business practices, and they asked Wendi, I know he does implant surgery, she said. They asked her, do you know anything about whether he offers discounts for cash or does a lot of business in cash? I have no idea, Wendi said. Do you know if there's a safe in your parents' house where he has stacks of cash inside? Wendi says, I don't know about a safe with stacks of cash. So you don't know? So you don't have a stack of cash in your parents' safe? That's Wendi's stack? No, she says. Okay, did Charlie Adelson like Dan Markel? And again, I'm referring to the time frame before his death. Wendi says, I think he was also, he would listen to me when I would tell him things that I was upset about at the time with the divorce. So whether he liked him or he didn't like him, he certainly was supportive of me. Then the prosecutor says, but he never expressed any dislike? Wendi says, no. Then they ask her, did he mention hiring a hitman to kill your husband? There's an objection, hearsay overruled. She says no. Then Georgia Kappelman says, did he ever joke about he looked into hiring a hitman? But buying a TV as a divorce present would be cheaper? Wendi says he did make that joke. He tended to repeat himself, and sometimes he would make jokes that weren't very funny about all kinds of things. Georgia says, all right, and did he buy you a TV as a divorce present? He did, Wendi said. And that was the TV, the same TV that was being repaired at your residence at the time that your husband was murdered? It was, Wendi said. Who made the arrangements for that TV repair? I did, Wendi said. Your mom didn't make those arrangements? I don't believe so. And the repairman was at your house that morning that your husband died, 8:30 to 9:15? Do you agree with that? She says, I remember he was supposed to come between 8 and noon, and then he ended up coming on the early side. Then Kappelman says that's when he arrived, between 8:30 and 9:15. Wendi says, that's my best recollection. She asked her, did Charlie ever say that he considered all possible options to take care of the problem being Dan Markel? Let's see here. So then they just jumped, hold on a minute, to the neighbor here, because they just have a little bit of that. So that was, I wanted to see what she said about the liquor store there, to see what it was like over there. Let me see, but this is something on Magbanua's. Let me go back. Okay. Let me go to complaint. No. Go here. Here's the document. Should this be all the documents? Let me see here. This is a different one, so let me see if I have everything here. Oh, here's so talking about Trescott. This may be talking about why she was driving. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so Bill Brandon was called as a witness, having been sworn. Have a seat. Please introduce yourself. He's Officer Brannon with the Tallahassee Police Department. And then they said he remembered responding to a crime scene on July 18th of 2014. Yes, ma'am. And was that located on Trescott Drive? Yes. Who was there when you arrived? The paramedics were already there, and Sergeant Sims and Investigator Bradshaw. What time did you arrive? At approximately 11:15 a.m., he said. And what was your role on the scene? He said, I ended up writing the initial report. Did you participate in clearing the residence? Yes, ma'am. And during your clearing of the residence, did you see any evidence of a struggle or a robbery attempt? He said, I was approaching the scene, which was in the garage. The paramedics were taking the victim out of the car. I saw bandaging around his head, blood on the victim, a little bit on the ground, a little bit on the car. Some shattered glass. I also noticed a half a pair of glasses laying on the ground just outside the driver's door. Okay, but inside of the residence, any indication of a forced entry or a robbery? No, he says. Okay, did you assist with setting up a crime scene perimeter? I can't remember if I actually assisted with setting it up, but I definitely was guarding the north end at one point. All right, what is a crime scene perimeter? He tells what that is. And then, okay, and if you were just passing by Trescott Road on Centerville Road, would you be able to observe the crime scene tape? From Centerville Road? Yes, sir. No. Why not? He says because there was a considerable distance between there and it kind of curves around. Okay. During the time you were holding the perimeter, making sure nobody comes up, correct? Yes. And during that time, did you see a particular vehicle of interest pull up? He says yes, a mid to late 2000 Honda Odyssey van. And she says, I'm going to show you what I have marked as State's Exhibit 19. Is this the vehicle in State's Exhibit 19, consistent with the vehicle that you saw approach? He says, yes, ma'am. And the vehicle that approached the crime scene tape would have to turn onto Trescott and come considerable distance down Trescott to get to the crime scene tape where you were. Yes, ma'am. All right. And is this vehicle similar in make and model and color as the one you saw? Yes, ma'am. And why did this vehicle attract your attention that day? And he said, I had already heard word from other officers that, they said objection. Then she said, all right, do you drive a vehicle of a similar make and model? Yes, my wife drives primarily a 2006 Honda Odyssey. Were you able to see the driver of the vehicle? I was pretty sure it was a female, but I couldn't say conclusively. What about her color or style of hair? Nah. Tag number? Nah, I didn't catch the tag number either. All right. And about what time did you observe this vehicle approach the scene? He said it was right about noon. And could you describe how the vehicle, what happened once it pulled up? He said it just came up, made a 3-point turn, turned around and left the area. All right. And did it do so? I'm assuming other vehicles probably did the same thing during that time frame. You were holding the perimeter, correct? Yes, ma'am. Because there was no ingress or egress down Trescott past that point. Correct. All right. And did this vehicle turn around in any fashion from the other ones that you saw turning around? He said it seemed to be a little less hesitation compared to other vehicles. What do you mean by that? And then they objected. And can you describe what you meant by that? Average citizens would be pulling up, and there is that kind of pause where I guess they are formulating a new plan, like, oh, I can't go this way. I was planning on going. And then, they kind of sit there for a second, and then they will eventually turn around and go. The way I remember it, this van came right up, made the 3-point turn, and left. Nothing. It wasn't squealing tires or anything crazy like that, though. Okay. Would the view that this driver of the van that approached the tape would that driver had a clear view of Mr. Markel's driveway? Objection, overruled. You may answer the question. Should have been, he says. And would that person driving the van have been able to observe at that time that the person pulled up that there was an emergency vehicle present in the driveway of Dan Markel? It should be evident. There's plenty of emergency response vehicles and stuff on scene. There were only, like I said, approximately a few houses down. What emergency vehicles were present at the scene at the time that the vehicle pulled up? There were probably approximately 4 or 5 patrol cars, the marked patrol cars at least one of the crime scene vehicles, which was also marked with police on it, and then some of the other investigators. And your vehicle, was that a marked patrol vehicle? Yes, ma'am. Were you seated inside the vehicle? Were you standing outside of the vehicle? He said, I was seated inside. Okay. And did this person in the van get out or attempt to interact with you at all about anything? This is another thing. If she was genuinely just going to the liquor store and happened to go past Trescott, remember, her children are in preschool, but you are going to freak out as a mother if you see the house that your kids live in with their father part of the time with crime scene tape, an ambulance, okay, I don't care what her feelings are that that's her child's father, but number two, she could think, oh my gosh, what if he picked up the kids early? What if something happened? I don't know any mother that would see that and just make a 3-point turn and go away. So that's another giveaway. Because had it been an innocent trip by, she would be concerned. What is going on? Okay. Let's see. Yes, I have the emergency lights activated. Okay. And then no further questions. And then let's see. We have another officer they're asking. And once you saw the vehicle that you believed matched her vehicle, did you get on your radio and say, hey, somebody go and pull Mrs. Adelson over? No. At that point, did you know she was the ex-wife? He said, from what I had been told on scene, it appeared that there was a separation or a split or something. I couldn't have stated that conclusively at that point, though. So you get there around 11:15. You will agree it's pretty close in that time when the shooting occurred, or at least within the first 911 call went out, right? Yes. Let's see. EMS was already on the scene. They must have just gotten there. I'm not sure when they got there. This officer answered. Let's see. The first person to tell me that they believed they were separated was the neighbor who called 911. Mr. Geiger? Yes, sir. So you interviewed Mr. Geiger? Yes, sir. In addition to telling you that they were going through a divorce, did he comment on the Prius or the vehicle that he said he saw leaving the crime scene? Yes. Would it be a fair statement that he said the vehicle left at a high rate of speed? Yes. That's the Prius going. Now they're talking about the van. We didn't have a reason to stop her. The person didn't get out screaming, oh my, that's my ex-husband's house, right? No. And you would agree with me that may be considered a normal response to seeing law enforcement, right? Yep, and crime scene and EMS, if someone that you had a relationship with and that's their house, right? Quite possibly. So the normal response would have been at least to inquire, right? I can't say what the normal response would be, but I don't know what her role was exactly. Okay, let me ask you this. The car in question didn't stop, right? No, sir. Didn't stop to inquire as to what's going on, right? No, sir. Didn't get out of the car? No, sir. Didn't ask you any questions? No, sir. Okay. And pretty smoothly made a 3-point turn and drove far away? Correct. Thank you, Officer Brennan. And I didn't have any more questions. Let me see here now. So whether she's going there innocently, she didn't act normally. Whether she was going there for a reason, says everything, right? Let's see here. Here's Jeffrey Lacoste. So, let's see what he says here. Mr. Lacoste, when we broke, we were talking about statements made to you by Wendi Adelson about her brother considering options to take care of her relocation problem. What, if any, statements did she tell you to that effect? He says, yes, ma'am. On July 13th, 2014, Wendi and I were speaking, and she asked me if she could share something with me confidentially. I told her, sure. She mentioned, or she said, that Charlie had explored all options to take care of the problem and that he had looked into having Professor Markel killed, and it would cost about $15,000. I later talked to Investigator Isom and said that could have been $50,000. They sound an awful lot alike. Okay, so you're not sure if she said 15 or 50? That's right, he said, but I'm confident that she made that statement. I just can't remember the exact dollar amount. And she did state that during the relocation battle that previous summers when that had taken place. All right, and the day that she made that statement to you, was July 13th of 2014? Yes, ma'am. Did Mrs. Adelson tell you anything about the celebration dinner? Anything about a celebration dinner? Yes, he says. Could you tell us about that? He says, yes. A couple of weeks after Professor Markel was murdered, we spoke on the phone, and she had mentioned that her and Charlie had gone to, these are her words, she said, Charlie and I went to what he described as a celebration dinner, and that was the dinner where she vomited? That's right, that's correct. And are you aware, Mr. Lacasse, that Ms. Adelson suggested you as a possible suspect in this homicide? Yes, ma'am. And where were you when Dan Markel was murdered? He said, I was on the road to Tennessee. I originally had a trip planned for 11 a.m. on Friday the 18th, and I had at the last moment changed my trip to Thursday night. So you left early? He says, I left early without telling anyone other than the people at, the destination. Miss Adelson was the only person I had told in Tallahassee about the timing I was leaving, which was 11 a.m. on the 18th. I had informed her of that around June 10th. All right, so originally it was going to be July 18th at 11 a.m. would be your departure? Yes, ma'am. And would you be flying or driving? He said, I was driving. All right. And it changed to Thursday night, so you left the night before, and you were in Tennessee at the time of the homicide? That is correct, he says. And then Ms. Kappelman says no further questions. And then let's see here. This is the cross. Hold on a minute. And let's see what we've got here. Okay, this is the cross. Let's talk about your relationship with Wendi Adelson. You started dating her. He said September 27, 2013 was our first date. How long was the relationship? Well, there's different phases of it. In the fall semester, we weren't exclusive. It was more casual. It became more serious late February, early March. So as far as that, serious, I'm your boyfriend, you're my girlfriend sort of thing, that was just March through July. Okay, so you started casually dating in September of 2013 and you got more serious at the beginning of 2014. That's right. Okay, and how did you meet Miss Adelson? He said through mutual friends. So it wasn't like a social media dating app? Nope. Were you aware that Ms. Adelson was participating in online dating? He said, I think I knew that. Well, I knew that she had dated online in the past. I did not know the time frame. One of your concerns, okay, so once you guys became exclusive, and by exclusive, you called her your girlfriend and she called you her boyfriend. Is that fair? That's correct. And I was involved with the kids at that point and things like that. Question, and it got to the point where she introduced you to her family, right? That's right. And you indicated there was a dinner when you met Charlie Adelson. That's right, he says. Kind of a good-looking guy, right? Sure. Right. Works out? Yeah. When you went, what the heck is that? So stupid. When you had your double date where it was you, Wendi Adelson, Charlie, and Ms. Magbanua, did you see what kind of car Mr. Adelson pulled up in? He said, I don't recall seeing his car in the parking lot. We then went to his house, so I saw his garage, and I got a look at some of the vehicles he owned, but not at dinner. What kind of vehicles does he have? Ferrari is the one that stood out to me. Do you remember the color of his Ferrari? I don't. Did you make any comments to Wendi about the Ferrari? Well, Wendi used to talk about Charlie having a Ferrari. I mean, she would say, my brother is a character. He has a Ferrari. He has an undercover cop car. He has, I think, a nice Benz in addition, or some other luxury car. So she knew what a Ferrari was, right? Sure. So it's not like she didn't say she has got a Porsche and you saw a Ferrari, right? No, it was a Ferrari. I actually remember discussing the cost of maintenance with Charlie. There were downsides to having a Ferrari. Yeah, that's tough. So pretty expensive car collection, right? He answers, yes, multiple cars. I don't know exactly how many. And did you learn what he did for a living? Yeah, I heard he was a periodontist from speaking with Wendi. Question. And how many was that the only night you had direct contact with Mr. Adelson, Charlie Adelson? Jeffrey says that's the only contact I've ever had with him that night. Question, did he appear to have, did he appear to be intelligent? Answer, that's a difficult question. I just met him that one night. That's a question. I will withdraw that. Let me ask you a more important question. Was he social? Was he drinking that night? Answer, I don't recall if he was drinking. He was holding forth. He was talking a lot. He was confident. That was my impression of him. He was talking a lot? Yes. Did you ever see him go to the bathroom? I don't recall. Did you ever see him? Was he perspiring more than a normal person during dinner? Jeffrey says, this is 5 years ago. I don't remember. We were outside and it was, not cool at that time of the year, but yeah. Okay, so you were outside in like an open area restaurant? Yeah, we were at Yardbird on the patio. Okay. The Yardbird on South Beach? Uh-huh. Okay. Did you witness Charlie Adelson doing cocaine that night? I did not. So this was a guy who's on South Beach, right? Drives a Ferrari, right? Yes. Had Wendi previously described him as having a lot of girlfriends? Sure. Handsome guy, probably could get the attention of women. I would presume so. But your only face-to-face meeting was with him at that dinner. Well, that dinner, and then we went back to his house and we hung out in his hot tub for a little while. But that was it. And during that time when you went to his house to hang out in the hot tub, did you ever see him go to the bathroom, or was he ever outside of your personal space? Yeah, I think all of us were in and out of that hot tub at various points because we were sitting there a little while. At any point, did you see Charlie Adelson? Now let me say, you're a law professor, correct? Professor of social work, actually. Correct. Okay, I'm sorry. You're a professor at the university, correct? And I apologize, not a law professor. You're an educated person, correct? Sure. You will agree with me that a lay person wouldn't solicit you to commit a murder, correct? And Ms. Kappelman objects. It's sustained. I will re-ask this. Did Charlie Adelson ask you to kill Dan Markel? And Jeffrey says, did Charlie ask me to kill? Did he ask you? No. Of course not. Okay, let's see here. So, yeah, let me get back to the chat for a second. It's raining like crazy. Okay. All right, so hello, Rando. Are you looking at the second child? The BB comment is only a few questions after the Geek Squad conversation at Catherine Magbanua's second trial. Hold on. Okay, let me go and get. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Jeffrey Lucas. So, this is, where are you, Wendi? And this is Wendi and Jeffrey. Get over there, Wendi and Jeffrey. Okay, so he said they attended a yoga class, then that came after a fight, and the meeting felt like their relationship was on its last leg. He said that Wendi called him back as they walked away and had a series of questions, and his plans to travel to Tennessee on Friday, July 18th, the same day Markel was killed. She knew I was going to leave for Tennessee at 11 a.m. on Friday. Despite seemingly breaking up with me and not wanting to see me for 3 days, she had a deep interest in what I was going to be doing on Friday. The timing of his departure would have put him on the Interstate 10 around the same time as the men who actually killed Markel in his metallic gray Nissan Sentra. Kappelman pointed out the vehicle is similar in color and profile to the Prius seen leaving Markel's house just after shots were fired. Not only that, but I would have driven within a couple of miles of Dan Markel's house. Wendi suggested Jeffrey Lacasse as a suspect to police in her initial interview. He was ruled out by the police because of credit card and cell phone data, as well as video surveillance that showed him in Tennessee. During questioning from Katie Magbanua's attorney, Tara Kawas, Lacasse said, "If I had left town without a cell phone and not entered a store, I worried there was an effort to make it look as if," he described to Magbanua's attorney, meeting Charlie Adelson only once after Markel's murder, suggesting that police investigate him and Wendi Adelson. "I had a bad feeling about Charlie. Charlie and Wendi need to be investigated." Let's see. Let me see here. All right, 1 second. Okay. Okay, so where is her? did I just have? Catherine McManua. Hang on. Why do I not have? I had his thing. Let me see. So, see what got in here? Okay, so anyway, I think that I am going to get the calls put up here so we can all listen to them and study them, but I also want to put up Wendy's interview, Jeffrey Lacasse's interview, and go through that stuff as well, because I think there's a lot to go over again. And like someone said here tonight, this is a case where we have, we actually have Rivera, Sigfrido's, 2 Katie Magbanua trials, now Charlie's. That's 5 trials. Rivera took a plea. Okay, so you've got four trials, and to prepare and to look at, that all have like a wealth of evidence, plus Rivera's testimony. So yeah, there's a lot to go over here that we have going into this. So let me see here. Okay, I'm in Adelson's disowning that other child probably saved him. Yeah. Yeah. In my opinion, she is one of the most calculated people I've ever seen. I believe every statement in her interview had a calculated purpose. Yeah, I think she's, I believe you. I think she's very good. Wendy's other brother's interview was eye-opening. His family tortured him over his love choices. Yeah, and he listened to them, and then he ended up divorcing that woman and marrying the woman that he originally wanted to marry. Yeah, absolutely. Chucky and Donna have several impulse control issues. They can't let anyone else finish the sentence, and they can't shut up to save their lives. Okay. Yep, I hear you on that stuff. Let me go. To my live stream here. Okay. Yeah, his the other brother Robert, let's see. Let me see something over here. Ryan Fitzpatrick. So this is the guy that they're talking about, this Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan extorting Charlie by giving loans to fictional clients and claiming that those people were incarcerated only to keep the money for himself. Oh, and that's when when Dave was talking to her about this, and she goes, "Oh, so the Bermans kept $4 for themselves?" Let's see. I'm trying to get through some of this stuff to see what this is. Interpreting Charlie's focus on Wendy's drive. New search warrants. Let's see something here. They're saying new search warrants. iPhones. Affidavit search warrants. Let's see. So it looks like reading of indictment, waived by defense, defense emergency motion to enjoin the jail, see transcripts. Affidavit search warrants filed on 12/15. Okay. Trying to see if there's any no info here. When does Donna realize she is in big trouble? At some point, someone tipped off Donna and told her she was going to be next. That's the plan to Vietnam. There's the moment of Charlie's conviction. Yes, I believe that. Post-conviction jail calls. Charlie goes on and on about Wendi. Yes. Talk to Dan and basically said she's next in the... Okay. Let's see. Wendy's phone search. Okay, so let's see what happened here. Oh, the show will probably be out in 17 or 20 rather than Life Now, especially if she copied. Okay. See, his name is Roman. I don't know why the person told me Ronan, and I said it's Roman because I said it's my granddog's name. Okay. And where is Bree? Let's see. He was with June, right? Cheated. They cheated, they lied, they played games. As the mother said. Let's see. Oh yeah, during one of the recorded calls, Charlie talks about his living conditions in solitary confinement and says that the walls are covered in poop despite having a fitted toilet bowl within the cell. Charlie said, I want to hang out with my son and my dog, and that's it. That's all I want in this world. See. Dan posted this on his blog. So there's a blog post on 5 May 25th, 2005. Anyway, lots to catch up on, but I thought I'd report first on the most important development in my life that occurred recently. Last Thursday night in a little village called Hadnes, which overlooks the Sea of Galilee, I became the luckiest guy on earth. Wendi Adelson agreed to marry me. She now wears what she likes to call a big girl ring, which I find has proven a worthwhile investment in terms of its deterrent powers alone. All I can say is, wow, did I win the lottery of life? And it is a sentiment with which my friends and family eagerly share. Really, the lottery of life, oh Dan. Oh Dan, no, unfortunately, it's more like the death card. Okay. Charlie discussing Wendi. Repeating it over and over. Yeah, is he already throwing her under the bus by repeating that over and over and over and over and over again? I think he's already started to throw her under the bus. I think he's already started to do it. Saying many times that, oh, it's a coincidence, but oh my gosh, it can't be a coincidence, right? He's already started to throw her under the bus. Why do these criminals expect jail to be the Ritz-Carlton? The media and YouTube channels started talking about 3 days after Charlie's conviction about a grand jury meeting the next Wednesday. Everyone was speculation it was meeting to take up the case against Donna. Oh yeah. Does anyone know how much the Markel's family get from the city for the 19-minute EMS? Wait, I can't imagine if that was my son. Markel family. Let me see. That did seem to be shady business, yeah. What do you think about my comments? 12:06. Let me see. Hold on, let me check. In my opinion, she is one of the most calculating people I have ever seen. I believe every statement in her interview had a calculated purpose. Yes, I believe that. Okay, so that one, yes, I believe that too. Is that the comment you're talking about? We have to think about it from a juror's perspective. Who doesn't realize he's not rehearsed? He's just testified many times about these exact same questions. The defense will try to use it against JL. Jeffrey Lacoste. Okay. Are you looking at the second trial? Which questions are you talking about there? I'll be the judge. I don't know if it's printing all your comments. (12:06) and 12:13. It's not showing me your comments. I'll be the judge. For some reason, it's not showing them to me. YouTube's doing that. I don't know why. The Adelsons were clueless about anything concerning real life until the arrest of Luis Rivera and Sigfrido Garcia. They were clueless about anything concerning real life. That's gut-wrenching. He got a death sentence with a wildebeest and crazy outlaws. Sorry, I'm chatty tonight. It's fine, Rando. It's fine. It's nice to have chatting about it. It's good. I'm going to just get a drink right here. If you want to call in, I'll be the judge because I think it's not letting some of your comments go through. For some reason, YouTube's doing that tonight. Kevin said he saw it on a different channel as well, that there was a glitch in YouTube or something. Hold on, I just got to get a drink. I gotta get some ice. I think I went overboard on the ice. I'm sorry about that. I'll be right there. I have a whole, feel like scooter with the ice. I forgot to buy straws again. I gotta get some new kind of straws. We might be having ice rain or something. I don't know. Something's. I don't know if it's rain or it's ice rain. Hold on a sec. Yeah, okay, hang on. I'm coming. Sorry about that. So yeah, I don't know. What is the legal fund in the night bottlings? That's exactly what it is. It's a legal fund. Go to it, and there's all the information on it about what it's for. Okay, so let me see here. Let me go to see what else we have on this. Let me see. Oh, Charlie's arrest, a transcript of the recording between Charlie and Katie Magbanua. We've gone over that multiple times. Police video. Says her brother joked about hiring a hitman. FBI interview with ex-girlfriend of Dan Markel's. Okay, let's see. Charlie Adelson paid for half the cost of the breast enhancement surgery, evidence that yet again can be read in different lights. Okay, we know that Charlie Adelson and another family member of the Adelson family arranged for a hit on Dan Markel. Let's see. Doesn't look very good. Squirrel. Okay, what is this now? Hold on a second. Mascaro has known Catherine Magbanua since they attended school together. She used to work at the tent sometimes after Mascaro's birthday in October of 2014. And before the end of December 2014, Magbanua had breast augmentation procedure performed by Dr. Leonard Rounder. Radner. AKA Dr. Boobner. I'm not joking. That's what it says here in this FBI interview. Coral Gables, Florida. Let's see. It either cost $6,000 or $7,000, of which was paid half by Charlie Adelson, according to this friend of Magbanua's. Let's see. Mascaro believes Charlie Adelson and Magbanua broke up around January or February of 2015 due to incidents with Sigfrido Garcia. Magbanua told Mascaro that Garcia was jealous of Charlie Adelson and actually attempted to call him after getting a number out of Magbanua's phone. That's the only part that seems really weird, okay? Because I don't understand why Charlie Adelson would use his girlfriend's jealous ex to commit a murder for him. Like, why would you think someone like that? I mean, it's like getting your enemy to do something that you need them to be quiet about. Like, just, why would you think they would? Does anybody find that weird? That's the one thing that, like, and they never brought that up really. Like, why in the world, if I was going to do a murder for hire, would I hire someone that hated me like that? I don't get that. That part I don't get. Okay. Which he supposedly left a threatening message on. On another incident, when Charlie Adelson and Magbanua were on their way to go out on his Wave Runner, Garcia allegedly stopped them in the middle of the street and confronted Charlie Adelson. Magbanua told Mascaro that because Garcia was capable of committing violence towards Charlie, they decided to break up. Mascaro described Magbanua and Garcia's relationship during their breakup period, which was approximately the end of 2013 through the beginning of 2015, as being very contentious. Garcia was living the single life and at one point dating a stripper or porn star. Okay. Okay. Who he lived with, which caused issues with Magbanua. They would fight about the children visiting Garcia at his residence because Magbanua did not want them exposed to that type of lifestyle. At some point, Garcia got his own apartment in that area of 82nd or 83rd and Biscayne Boulevard in Miami. Garcia still had a roommate and was still living the bachelor lifestyle, which continued to cause issues with the children's visitation. Magbanua hired an attorney at one point and forced some sort of child support agreement upon Garcia. Mascaro recalls the day that Garcia and Magbanua got back together because it was at a gathering to watch this boxing match in May of 2015 with Manny Pacquiao. I don't know. The gathering was at Luis Rivera's brother's residence, who Mascaro knows as Chachi. Mascaro knew Luis Rivera also, as they went to school together. When Garcia and Magbanua got back together in May of 2015, Garcia was unemployed. It was soon after that Garcia got a job at Rapid Capital Funding. Is that the end of that? Interesting. Okay. See something. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to find. Let me see here. Okay. Where are the... Can we do a search right here? Donna Adelson's purchase of the Bullet Bourbon. Okay. There has been... Let's see here. Charlie Adelson. No. I wonder what... Hold on a second. One second. Let's see here. What the heck is... Trying to find something that I had. You think there would be a big website thing like with Peterson. That would be nice. To have everything all organized there. Maybe I'll have to do something like that. Let's see. Donna Adelson, house arrest. All right, let me, hold on a minute. Charlie Adelson. Here's what I wanted to get at the other day. Is it? Let me see here. Sigfrido Garcia. No, not listening to you, Sigfrido. Let me get. What the heck are Charlie's? One County. How come I had. Hold on a second. Come on. You joking around? I had you guys. It doesn't want to give me what I want to see. Okay, so let me see. Okay. Okay. I'm almost there. Let me see here. Please adjust. Okay. Well, it's getting really windy out. You hear that? Really, really windy. He was arrested. Okay. Do you hear that wind? Okay. Why did they give me all this stuff now? What the heck? This is not what I wanted. It returned a whole bunch of stuff I do not want. Okay. Maybe it's just time to play word cookies. I don't know. I'm going to finish going through some more calls. I've got some more stuff to pack up tomorrow. I've got some cleaning to do around here, organizing. I'd like to put up another tree. We'll see. Got the tree up earlier than last year, for sure. Last year was really late, I believe. Okay. Anyway, let me go back to the chat. We'll definitely do some more tomorrow. I'm going to do some word cookies. You love the wind too. High 61. It's raining here. Your snow is almost all gone. If you win $1 million, you never have to work. You just have to remember to be smart. Who's got the money? Hi, beautiful dreamer. Who's got the money? Who's winning $1 million? Hi, Sassy Darcy. Who's winning all that money? Okay, so let's do a word puzzle, and tomorrow we'll see. Okay. As long as it doesn't add too dirty. Yes, everything is secure. You sent me an email? Okay, hang on, let me check. You want to come on and talk? You can come on and talk. Hold on a second. Oh, okay, sure, yeah. Yeah, you can call in, definitely. I didn't know that, yeah. It's easy, I'll send it to you, hang on. You can just call one of the numbers, don't get all, or you could click, if you have Zoom, you can just click on the link. Oopsie, hold on a second. There we go. I'm sending it to you, okay? Okay. There you go. Okay. In the meantime, while we're waiting for you to come up, I'll do the puzzle while we're waiting for you. Okay, I sent it to you, so let me know if you get it, okay? Hmm. All right, let's see. I sent it to you. Did you get it? I sent it to you. Hi, Heart Made Wise. I sent it to you. Piped. Yeah, piped on the icing. Okay. Epic. That's it. Epic. Who said that? Kevin Leonard. It's epic. Did you get it? Being as I am tomorrow. Okay. Ice. Pie. Pip. Dip. Hip. I. Try. Pick. Nope. It's not pick. Look. I'm responding. For my messages are not showing up. I sent it to you. I'll be the judge. I just sent you the number. Then why is that? have Pip. I tried Pep. I'll be the judge. Check your email, please. Aha, there you go, Heart Made Wise, thank you. I'll be the judge. Hopefully you have it. Please call in. I don't know what happened to I'll be the judge. I'll be the judge. Are you there? I'll be the judge. I'll be the judge. Where did she go? Where'd you go? I'll be the judge. Ingot. Nothing. Oh, nothing. You know, I kept seeing that hi, and I kept saying, no, I can't do nothing. That's silly. That sounds crazy. No, it's got to be an I, an N. Ion, that's it. Where is our friend? Where's our friend? Where are you, friend? Let me see if she emailed me back. I gave her the number. Okay, let me see if she got it. Boop, boop, boo. Doo, 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 doo. All my messages are not showing up. I 1 out of 10. Oh. I am so sorry. I think there is a glitch tonight. Can you call in? See if you can call in using one of those numbers. I'm sending it to you. Oh, poor thing. I'm trying to get I'll be the judge. The information here. Oh, goodness gracious. I don't know. Where are you? I'll be the judge. Where are you? I don't know. Huh. Okay, well, let me see if she just emailed me back. I hope you can get on. Let's see. Okay. Oh dear, dear. Let me see here. Tried the numbers as well. Oh boy, I'm so sorry. I don't understand. Did it give her the Zoom link? Okay, let's see. Maybe not. She really wants to discuss the case, and I would love to discuss the case with her, but for some reason she can't get on there. I don't know what's going on. We really want to talk to you. What's going on? Where is my live chat? I don't know. She can't get on. That's upsetting. And she says like every fourth message is coming through. She can't get all her messages through either. That's upsetting. I'd like to discuss the case with her. Hi, Jeanette. I don't know why we can't get her on here. I don't know, right? Where the heck, Gazelle? Huh. Look at that. And they shouted out with glee. Hey. Thank you, hi. Thank you, everybody. I don't know what happened to the judge. I'll be the judge of that. She can't get on here. I feel so bad for her. I don't know why. Download Zoom and just come on in. I don't know where she went. Let me see if she emailed me again. I'm going to ask my son tomorrow. Oh, okay. Oh, right. Please do. Okay, so we'll see her tomorrow night. She's going to have her son help her with Zoom. That'll be fun, right? That will be fun. That will be fun, they said. Go on Zoom, they said. That'll be fun. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna go and log off. I've got a bunch of stuff to do. I've got to finish with the tree, the final decoration, stuff like that. I'm gonna try to get up my other tree. I don't even tell you. Jimmy brought up the wrong tree, put it up all the way, and then I thought he was gonna leave it up here. And then he brought it all down again. And I've got to bring up my tree from my island, my white tree, and then raised tree. Yeah, I've got to get that stuff done, and I've got to get other stuff put on my shelves and clean up, do stuff like that. So I'm doing a little painting too, and maybe I want to paint a little bit tonight before I go to bed. All right. Anyway, you guys have a pleasant evening. Love you guys. I will talk to you tomorrow. It's good to see you, FoxyBot. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you guys for coming on. We will see you tomorrow. We will see you tomorrow. God bless. God willing. Be good. Goodbye, everybody.